Faith and learning across borders. Educators, interfaith leaders, and youth advocates in Myanmar and Thailand. The role of religious leaders in supporting education for Myanmar children and youth in times of conflict. Myanmar plus Thailand context. No. Main theme/question. Answer. Notes. 1. Collapse of education. Religious sites become schools, volunteers teach, hope restored. Monasteries, churches, mosques, refugee camps, trauma healing. 2. Faith principles to action. Teach compassion, discipline, respect, service as learning values. Faith equals moral framework, peace and cooperation lessons. 3. Keeping curiosity and creativity. Use art, music, storytelling, festivals to inspire children. Cultural preservation, emotional healing, joyful learning. 4. Overcoming religious divides. Interfaith leaders unite for children's right to learn. Shared schools, peace dialogue, joint community teaching. 5. Unexpected obstacles. Fear, mistrust, movement limits, loss of hope. Conflict zones dangerous, refugee restrictions, teacher burnout. 6. Hidden gaps beyond resources. Lack of mental health care, mentorship, digital access. Emotional support, teacher training, online learning barriers. 7. Youth in exile, Thailand. Identity loss, no certification, isolation, joblessness. Need bridge schools, online programs, livelihood skills. 8. From receiving aid to leading. Build community committees, train teachers, manage funds. Capacity building, transparent leadership, NGO cooperation. 9. Beyond the classroom. Focus on resilience, morals, life skills, guidance. Mentorship, psychosocial care, faith-based strength. 10. Stability and normalcy. Offer routine, rituals, safe faith spaces. Shared meals, prayer, identity rebuilding in camps. 11. Building sustainable networks. 1. Local ownership. 2. Interfaith unity. 3. Flexible learning. Hybrid schools, refugee education hubs, coordination. 12. Key recommendation. Treat faith leaders as education partners in all planning. Include in policy, fund local hubs, amplify youth voices. Summary section. Area. Core message, few words. Role of leaders. Shelter plus moral plus informal schooling plus hope. Faith principles. Compassion, service, peace as education base. Children's creativity. Storytelling, art, festivals, play, healing. Interfaith unity. Shared centers, unity beyond religion. Challenges. Fear, trauma, exile, lack of recognition. Solutions. Community leadership, mentorship, mental health. Networks. Local control, interfaith cooperation, flexibility. Policy advice. Recognize faith leaders as key education actors. Summary. Focus. Essence. Myanmar plus Thailand context. Faith leaders keep education alive amid conflict and exile. Faith in action. Compassion plus cooperation equals survival learning. Youth hope. Art, play, rituals sustain joy and identity. Unity. Interfaith collaboration builds peace education. Obstacles. Fear, trauma, digital divide, weak certification. Path forward. Local leadership, psychosocial care, inclusive policy. Core principles. Ownership, unity, flexibility. Final message. Faith and learning together give hope to Myanmar's children. No. Questions/themes. Answers. Notes. 1. How do religious leaders help address the collapse of education during conflict? Open temples, churches, mosques as safe learning spaces, recruit volunteer teachers, restore hope. Monastic schools, camp classrooms, trauma healing, community tutoring. 2. How can the principles of a faith tradition be translated into a practical framework for protecting and continuing education in a war-torn community? Apply compassion, service, and discipline as teaching ethics, guide peace-centered education. Moral-based curriculum, peace lessons, inclusive values. 3. Besides ensuring safety, what role do religious leaders play in keeping children curious and creative during war? Inspire through storytelling, art, music, and rituals that heal and nurture imagination. Faith festivals, cultural learning, emotional recovery. 4. When conflict is caused by religious or sectarian divides, how can religious leaders rise above these differences to work together and ensure access to education? Form interfaith committees, share schools, focus on children's rights over divisions. Peace education, cooperation between faiths, joint programs in camps. 5. From your personal experience, what was the most unexpected obstacle you encountered when trying to provide educational support during the conflict? Fear, mistrust, and movement restrictions blocking access to children and communities. Security risks, parental fear, volunteer burnout, loss of hope. 6. Besides a lack of resources, what hidden gaps in support for youth need to be addressed? Missing mental health care, mentorship, and access to technology for learning. Need teacher training, digital literacy, emotional guidance. 7. Identify challenges and gaps in current support systems for Myanmar youth in exile. Refugee youth lack identity papers, education recognition, and work opportunities. Bridge schools, accredited online courses, cultural support. 8. How can a religious community move from receiving aid to leading its own educational recovery? Build education committees, train teachers, manage funds transparently, partner with NGOs. Community ownership, leadership development, sustainable planning. 9. Beyond a physical classroom, what is the most important element of education for a youth who has been displaced, and how can religious leaders help provide that? Emotional strength, life skills, and moral guidance to rebuild confidence. Mentorship, psychosocial support, spiritual resilience. 10. How can faith communities provide stability and a sense of normal life for young people who have lost their homes and communities? Create safe daily routines, faith rituals, and shared community spaces. Prayer, shared meals, youth circles, rebuilding identity. 11. If we were to design a sustainable network for education in crisis contexts, what 3 core principles would it be built on to ensure its longevity? 1. Local ownership. 2. Interfaith unity. 3. Flexible mobile/online learning. Religious networks, refugee hubs, transparent coordination. 12. Based on your experiences, what is the single most important recommendation you would make to a government or an international organization to improve support for youth in exile? Recognize and include religious leaders as equal partners in education policy and planning. Fund local hubs, listen to youth, empower faith-based education actors. Summary. Main area. Core message. Role of leaders. Shelter plus moral plus informal learning plus hope across borders. Faith principles. Compassion, service, discipline as education foundation. Children's creativity. Storytelling, music, rituals, and play nurture joy. Interfaith unity. Shared schools, peace dialogue, cooperation for children. Challenges. Fear, trauma, exile stress, lack of recognition, digital divide. Solutions. Local leadership, mentorship, emotional and mental health care. Networks. Ownership by communities, interfaith cooperation, flexible learning. Policy advice. Include faith leaders in education design and implementation.